Hello and welcome back to the channel. The manhwa we are going to recap today is about a girl who uses her baking skills to mend relations with her family. So let's begin with our recap. So this banger starts with a banger when someone is trying to persuade Rachel to stay away from all the business matters. She is the second daughter of Count Reincarnates. Her father says that he wanted to give her the same opportunities as a second-born, but now he thinks he made a mistake. He then turns to ask Raymond what he thinks of a certain proposal. Raymond, who is the firstborn, says the efforts are commendable, but that is all there is to it. He believes it will be difficult for the business to succeed within the empire, let alone attempt exports. Rachel's attention is also drawn to a waffle maker. She is sure that it is going to be a big hit. Raymond tells her that she should leave business matters to them and instead focus on her engagement. Her father says that he was already planning to send a letter to the imperial palace, a letter that contains her name engraved on it. He asks why they are acting like it's a surprise. He adds that he is going to support her marriage with the crown prince. He says that since she wanted it so desperately, he asked them to proceed with it. And that Chin just has to deliver the letter. She suddenly bursts open the door, declaring that she's going now, while her father shouts after her, asking what in the world she is up to. Rachel runs to Chin. He asks her if something is wrong and whether she desires another luxury item. But she snatches the letter away from his hands and tears it apart. Because now, she has her eyes on one of the roots of her family's ruin. That's right, a refreshing story where the female lead does everything herself. 2 weeks ago, the protagonist found herself inside this book. She was an orphan girl who had lived her whole life for her siblings. She had managed to land a job in a major corporation overseas in the sales department. But from what she remembers, she worked herself to death. She had only wanted to see her little sibling's entrance ceremony before she died. Still, she has no regrets about her life except for her lingering attachment to baking. The bread she died making was delicious. That is why she is determined to save it and create her own bakery. That's why, even after adjusting to this world as Rachel, she even begins to look forward to it. This world creates all sorts of tools using magic, and the family she's in has amassed immense wealth through magical tool production. And yet, the one who utterly ruined the family was none other than Rachel. Every business she touched turned into complete failure. She tormented the heroine, which only caused more backlash for her family. She has memorized the whole story, and she knows exactly what is going to happen. So now, she can change the story. Nothing will stand in her way of opening that bakery, and her obsession with bread is finally going to reach its destination. The next day, her father asks her if she really tore the engagement letter into pieces. She says, all happily, that yes she did. She then hands him her new business proposal. He agrees, but with one condition. If the venture fails, she will have to marry the head of the Deneve Merchant Guild. She can see that her father is very confident that this one is going to fail too. Daniel declares himself politically neutral, has no unsavory rumors around him, and is also one of the original male lead candidates. She sees that this shows her father has genuinely considered what kind of man his daughter should marry. But she still has no interest in the marriage. She tells her father that she will accept the marriage if the business fails. He says okay and tells her to report once things are settled. He then asks where she plans to open the bakery. She replies Ca 7 Street in Lilfrost. She wants to open it near the Hessen Duke Manor. But her father is like, what is this girl thinking? Because that place has no geographical advantage. She can see that even the tiniest shimmer of hope has vanished from his face. Regardless of that, he readily purchases that block for her. The ownership still belongs to her father, but it is still a big step, as she won't have to pay rent. She doesn't have any liquid funds under her name, but she does own an unmined ore. Madela asks her if she's really going out alone, riding in the mud streets without any guards. Rachel assures her that she won't get into trouble for this and even bribes her with a brooch to keep her mouth shut. Holding that brooch, Madela swears on the elf gods that she's not going to tell anyone. Rachel is glad. She knows Madela is really fond of money. She was her personal maid, but in the end, she turned out to be Raymond's pawn. Still, Rachel appreciates her honesty about it. Then Qua, seeing the cab, asks the disguised Rachel if she is going to run an errand for Rachel. Rachel says that this is right, she is running an errand for Rachel. The coachman says it must be tough for her. After all, she must be new and all. Rachel remains quiet. Everyone is done with her. Poor Rachel thinks to herself that getting scolded for what the original Rachel did is hurtful. The coachman asks where she is headed. She tells him that she wants to go to Citron Plaza. But actually, she has a different destination in mind. She just can't let Raymond find out. Because from now on, she is going to start raising funds for her bakery. We see So walking, saying that it has been half a year since he last entered the capital. Though he has patrolled the border for some time, returning here makes it feel like he hasn't truly been present for a while. He thinks that now the work is done, he should head back to the manor to report. But then, we see that the other guy with him suddenly dashes away as he spots a poster announcing a bakery opening. The guy rushes to him, calling out to the figure, Karhan Hessen. He asks what's going on. Karhan tells him that someone plastered an advertisement on the street trees. The loyal knight says that he will go and check if it's authorized, but Karhan tells him not to bother, which makes the boy think that Karhan must be truly angry and that he should quickly remove it. But he sees that the poster has already been removed by Karhan himself, who quietly folds it and puts it into his pocket. Now, we see the scene shift to someone asking why Rachel wants to meet. Rachel says that this is correct, she is here to meet the bank president because she has an urgent investment matter to discuss with him. She straightens herself and wipes off her drool from the carriage ride. The man before her is baffled, muttering who in the hell this girl even is, and tells her that she will have to make an appointment first. Rachel can see that she has no other choice but to attract attention. She lies down on the floor and begins throwing a tantrum, declaring that she wants to meet Daniel no matter what. The attendant is shocked, wondering why she is so insistent on meeting him. She calls the guards to take her out. Even the guards are taken aback, wondering why someone is looking for the bank president so desperately. Finally, Robert arrives, asking what all this commotion is about. He is the president of the central bank. Rachel says to herself finally, this is the person she wanted. She tells him that she wishes to raise an investment proposal with him and that it is related to expanding into the Evil Kingdom market. She also requests a private moment with him. Robert glares at her, but eventually lets her in. He tells the maid that there is no need to prepare tea. He then lights a cigar. She quickly says that he doesn't need to light the cigar because she knows he doesn't like the smell of it. He says that's nonsense, but she knows he's holding his breath. This catches him completely speechless. Daniel is the head of the Deneve Merchant Guild, and Roberts is the president of the central bank. They were former business rivals who despised each other. But the truth is, after Robert's death, Daniel has been playing both roles. Rachel can't help but feel something for him, because in her past life, she also worked herself to death. Daniel says to her that he doesn't think she ever met Robert, which makes this situation awkward. Rachel takes off her hat and tells him that she is Rachel, the daughter of Count Ricelian. Daniel replies that he has no interest in high society, which is why he has never seen Rachel in person. But he has heard that Rachel is truly beautiful. She washes her face and says, take a look, she really is Rachel. But the man thinks, can she really be called beautiful? She wonders if he simply has a different taste in women. She notes to herself that she's never seen a situation like this in any romance novel. Once again, she finds herself with no other choice but to lie down on the floor again. This finally makes him panic for his life. He rushes to get the tea prepared. Now that they're both seated, Daniel tells her that before they continue, he wants her to keep his identity a secret. She agrees. She sips her tea and remarks that by next spring, diamonds will be all the rage in Avel's high society, and investing in diamond mines will be highly profitable. He thinks that this does sound like credible information. Daniel then says to her that if she doesn't reveal her source, how is he supposed to believe her? She tells him that she knows he has been preparing for war and that exporting staple food, such as wheat, to the Empire is his current concern. She smiles softly, assuring him that she is genuinely here to help him. The entire world is suffering from an immense famine caused by relentless sandstorms. Fortunately, the Empire has managed to avoid a direct hit, but merchants have taken advantage of the situation by exporting wheat from within the Empire. With grain prices soaring, there's growing concern that even the Empire's wheat supply could soon become scarce. To prevent this, the Emperor seeks a solution. In response, the Crown Prince proposes a temporary ban on wheat exports, a decision that earns him overwhelming support from the people. Now, the Crown Prince is keeping a close watch on the market. A crackdown is about to begin, and no one will be spared, not even the influential Deneve Trading Company. As soon as she hears this, She tells Daniel to move all the wheat to Huron before they get caught. She warns him that, if discovered, the act would be considered unforgivable, even by the public. She then asks what alternative he proposes, knowing full well that she hasn't come here without a plan. She intends to strike a deal and wants something in return for the alternate method she's offering. Daniel listens as she proposes her idea. If she offers another method instead of burning the wheat, he should be willing to compensate her. She clearly appreciates his direct approach. What she wants is a covert account opened at the central bank. Daniel immediately refuses, saying it's impossible. It would damage the bank's credibility, as access to accounts is strictly limited to their official owners. A covert account shouldn't even be considered. She challenges that stance by suggesting what if someone from her family offers a bribe to access her accounts? Surely a dishonest employee might be tempted. Daniel, thinking quickly, offers her an account in his own name, refusing to tarnish his brother's reputation. She tells him this will give him the opportunity to claim his money as well. Daniel insists he does business on trust first, and if she can't trust him, she won't be able to trust anyone. She likes this confidence and agrees to the new plan. She informs him there's a warehouse behind building number 7, on Lilfrost Street that he can use to temporarily store the wheat. Daniel points out that it's dangerously close to the Carhan estate and notes that he himself is a close trustee of the Crown Prince. She laughs, saying the best hiding spots are usually right under the enemy's nose. It'll be fine. That warehouse once belonged to a failed businesswoman, so no one would dare to question what ingredients she stores there. Daniel is quietly impressed by her confidence. As for payment and compensation for the use of the warehouse, she offers to buy all the wheat at half the price. Daniel considers this and agrees, saying he needs to get rid of it anyway and is willing to sell it all to her. However, she absorbs that thought and remarks that he's been doing a lot of charity lately. Those most affected by the famine are not the nobles or the rich but the poor children, especially orphans. She tells him there's an orphanage on Street 12 and instructs that all unsold bread should be delivered to them. She plans to make a lot of delicious pastries and bread. Daniel wonders if she's being serious. She assures him that she is. Thanks to the affordable ingredients she's secured, she can afford to be generous. The two of them begin drafting the agreement, both visibly excited. Daniel asks her the name of the diamond mine they're contracting with. She tells him it's the I-Hectare mine. Daniel's mood dims. He knows that mine. It's been abandoned for years and has only ever produced copper. She confidently assures him that diamonds will be discovered there. She urges him to trust her. Daniel is all in and says he'll pay up front, but begs her to tell him the exact force behind her claim. She only smirks and says she'll tell him later. And so, the contract with staggering penalties for breach is signed. She adds that, for the time being, all diamonds extracted must be exported exclusively to the Kingdom of Aval. With a limited supply, the demand for diamonds in the Empire will skyrocket. Even the wealthiest nobles will scramble to open their wallets, and they'll be able to sell them at outrageously high prices. Listening to all of this, Daniel can't help but feel thankful to be working with her. Finally, a solid contract is signed, and another major hurdle is out of the way for her bakery dream. Now, she's checking the bakery space. After this, she plans to clean it up. The place looks great. She reminds herself she needs to bake the bread before sunset. Time to learn how to make bread again. The ingredients: flour, yeast, sugar, salt, milk, eggs, and butter. The ingredients here are slightly different from her previous life, so she needs to experiment to find the perfect recipe. She begins to knead the bread. It makes her feel really warm inside. Baking is what she's always wanted to do with her life. She remembers the first time she baked bread. Her siblings ate the failed loaf with smiles. She wonders how they're doing without her. But then she remembers, in this life, she has siblings too. Her mother had many miscarriages. After giving birth to Raymond, she adopted Rachel. Later, she was finally able to give birth again. But her existence is what turned Rachel into the Villainess. She plans to give the best loaf to her father but then reconsiders. Perhaps she should give it to her sister instead. It's always safer to keep family bound with kindness. She checks the secondary fermentation. It's done. She removes the cookies from the oven and places the dough into the bread pans. She starts to bake again. She just needs to keep repeating this until she finds the perfect recipe. The next day, she receives a letter advising them to delay the minions' operations to avoid the Crown Prince's surveillance. She thinks that she must respond with a rebound tactic, or better yet, devise a flawless money laundering strategy. Matilda arrives, telling her that Raymond asked her to stop by his office. She scoffs, saying if he has something to say, he should come to her himself. And, of course, it looks like he actually did come, angry and all. He tells her he had a feeling she would say something like that, so he decided to come in person. She is visibly annoyed. What could this man possibly want from her now? She says to him that if he has something to say, he should say it directly. She's busy. He replies coldly, asking if she's really planning to leave the house. She snaps back, demanding to know who said that, and asks if he came all the way here just to praise her for it. Grinding his teeth, Raymond grabs her by the collar. His voice is sharp, asking if she truly thinks that after what she did to Isabella, everything is just going to disappear. He reminds her that the only reason their father hasn't disowned her yet is because of their mother's final words. Rachel is shaken. There's something in his words that was never mentioned in the original story. She's pissed if he even came here before speaking to their father to confirm it. That's beyond infuriating. He hisses that instead of being grateful, she's pushing her siblings into misery and now has the nerve to act calm. She can't believe this. Rachel says she never planned to leave in the first place, and if he said everything he came to say, he should leave. But Raymond mocks her, asking if she plans to leech off this house forever. He calls her an orphan and walks away, leaving Rachel stunned. Matilda hesitantly steps in, trying to ease the atmosphere. She tells Rachel that she'll get no points by confronting Raymond like this. She wants to know what Raymond is really thinking, but she's also confused herself. Is he truly angry because of what Rachel supposedly did to Isabella? Or because she was planning to leave the house? It seems even Raymond hasn't sorted out his feelings yet. Rachel hands Matilda some money, but Matilda suddenly asks if she thinks what Raymond said is true. A heavy silence follows. Nervously, Rachel says she would never believe such rumors. The mansion's servants also think the same, after all. But deep down, Rachel knows that without her memories as the original Rachel, she can't figure out the truth. Isabella, the original noble daughter, helped paint Rachel as the villainess. She overreacted, spread false rumors, and turned everyone against her. Rachel had hoped Isabella wouldn't be like that. She's still young. But no, after everything, it seems she really is just like the story said. Rachel walks to Isabella's room. The doctors inform her that Isabella hasn't regained consciousness. She asks them to give her a moment alone, explaining she just needs a little time. One of the doctors warns her that Isabella hasn't been eating either and suggests not bothering her. But Rachel calmly explains that the food isn't for her. She says that if Isabella were awake, she would have given it to her. Looking at her sleeping face, Rachel notes how her hair looks like strawberry jam. But now that she's finally meeting her, she realizes she doesn't hate her. In fact, she might even like her a little. She speaks softly to the unconscious girl, asking her to wake up. If she does, Rachel promises to make her lots of delicious food. She starts to imagine it may be a fresh strawberry cake, or soft bread filled with blueberries and a spread of homemade cheese. That sounds good too. And of course, they can eat as many cakes with cocoa as they want. When Isabella wakes up, Rachel promises to spoil her with all kinds of bread. She gently asks her to hurry up and get better. Then she heads to her bakery to start cooking again. The freshly baked items need time to cool, and the ones already cooled should be packed. For the grand opening, Susan will probably focus on their best-selling bread. But Rachel plans to try out a wide variety. She doesn't want to lose a single customer, and if things go well, she might even be able to buy the bakery building from her father. Suddenly, she hears someone calling her name. It's Isabella. Isabella reaches out, grabbing her hand, saying she was so scared she might die. Rachel, startled, asks what she's thanking her for. Isabella says it was Rachel who saved her when she fell into the pool. Rachel is clearly taken aback. She asks how Isabella could know that she was unconscious. But Isabella insists she heard her voice yesterday and knew it was her. She's sure of it. Rachel thinks to herself that the rumors and the truth are completely different. This girl in front of her, she's not what the world made her out to be. For now, Rachel gives her something to eat. She hands her a jar and tells her to pick some candies. Isabella is visibly delighted and says she'll enjoy them. But just then, Raymond's voice rings out, shouting Rachel's name and asking her what she thinks she's doing. Rachel stiffens, frustrated. What is this man doing here again? He shouts at her, demanding what exactly she is feeding Isabella and why she brought her here without his permission. She replies that she didn't even know Isabella was coming and that she was only giving her some colors she made herself. She turns to Isabella and asks how it tasted and if it looked nice, to which Isabella genuinely seems to like them. Then she adds that the colors were really sweet and delicious, and pleads with him not to get angry at Rachel. She tells him he'd better understand that ever since Rachel came to this world, she has had no one to take her side, but now she can see Isabella is standing up for her. She asks Raymond where he was when she fell into the pool and tells him how truly terrified she was. Raymond is left speechless. Then Isabella chimes in, saying Rachel fought a giant octopus with her whisk, and then that mansion-sized lizard with her oven tray. Both Rachel and Raymond are completely thrown off, wondering what on earth Isabella is even saying. Isabella, unfazed, continues by declaring that Rachel is going to make lots of treats for her. Rachel then smirks at Raymond, telling him she doesn't care what he thinks of her, but she's sure he's not going to ignore his former little sister now. Raymond asks Isabella how the hell she even ended up here. Isabella replies that she offered money to anyone willing to bring her over, and seeing Madela here makes the entire situation much more understandable. Rachel turns to Isabella and promises to make something even tastier for her next time. It's just one day before the bakery opens, and Rachel knows she really needs to clear the weeds out there. But at the same time, she also wants to try making a few more things before the grand opening. The wheat that Daniel had been planning to export has already been fermented into a new type of flour that means she now has everything she needs. This time, she's planning to try making pumpkin muffins. If they turn out well, they'll be a huge hit, no matter the age or gender of the customers. She begins by boiling the pumpkin. Then she mixes all the ingredients together to form the batter. She pipes the batter into muffin liners in a circular motion, places a thin slice of pumpkin on top of each, and puts them into the oven. Meanwhile, she sets the leftover batch aside for rising. She plans to use the remaining boiled pumpkin in that as well. After a quick round of weed cutting outside, she returns to find the pumpkin muffins all done. The smell and the texture are amazing. It was a good decision to use boiled pumpkin instead of powdered. It pairs perfectly with fresh cream. However, now that she looks at the batch, she realizes she may have baked too many just for practice. With the bread already in production, she doesn't know what to do with the extra muffins. Then she suddenly remembers the spam message about donating. That settles it, she's going to bake more and donate them. She hopes the kids will like them. Soon after, Rachel is welcomed warmly by Catherine, the head of the orphanage. Catherine is genuinely happy to have such a kind neighbor and is completely obsessed with the smell of freshly baked muffins. Rachel mentions that she has a favor to ask. She wants them to give an honest review after eating the muffins, as she would love to receive genuine feedback. Catherine says it's no problem at all and immediately gathers everyone so they can try the treats together. The children get really excited when they see the bread. They eagerly start eating the bread and muffins, saying they would love to learn how to bake as well. Rachel tells them that using the oven can be really dangerous, so once they grow up, she'll teach them. Until then, she will continue baking for them. Suddenly, Catherine stares at Rachel. Rachel notices the gaze and asks if she didn't like the bread. Catherine replies that it's not like that at all. In fact, the rich aroma and perfect texture make it exceptional. She tells Rachel that out of all the bread she's ever tasted, this one is outstanding, and she's certain that Rachel is going to find great success. With that, Catherine takes her leave. But deep down, she starts to wonder what if the bakery sales don't go well on opening day. Then maybe it's time Rachel finds out what real money truly tastes like. The next day, one by one, customers begin arriving to buy bread from Rachel, making her wonder how is this place already so popular. She realizes that sometimes, life really is all about luck. As she watches the steady stream of people, she thinks that maybe she should start planning a more permanent living space here. But before anything else, a girl really needs to eat something first. Today, she's absolutely craving mint chocolate cookies. At first, she considers taking some to Isabella to taste test, but then hesitates. What if Isabella isn't a fan of mint chocolate? If Raymond sees her spitting it out, he'll cause another scene. With no better option, she decides to make classic chocolate chip cookies and adds some nuts for extra flavor. To make mint chocolate cookies, she notes, you need mint chocolate chips, nuts, cake flour, butter, eggs, baking powder, and salt. She can't find any mint chocolate in the store, so she improvises and makes it herself, melting white chocolate, adding peppermint oil and a bit of food coloring. She then mixes the ingredients to form the dough. She divides the dough into 2 bowls, one she fills with round mint chips, the other with chocolate chips. She kneads the dough until there's no dry flour left, making sure not to overdo it. Overmixing would make the cookies too tough. She drops rounded spoonfuls of dough onto a baking sheet, topping one batch with teardrop-shaped mint chocolates and the other with nuts. The oven is done preheating, so she places the colored dough inside. When it's all done, the cookies give off an incredible aroma. She really hopes Isabella will like them. Just then, Isabella comes running to her. She asks Rachel if she's really here to see her, and Rachel smiles, saying of course she is. She reminds Isabella that she promised to bring her more delicious sweets to eat. Then she asks Isabella to guess what she made for her this time. Isabella says she'll try guessing by smell first. She sniffs the cookies and immediately guesses they're cookies because of the nutty scent. Rachel offers her the colorful cookies, and to her surprise, Isabella picks up the mint chocolate ones. Even more surprising, she actually likes them a lot. She's super happy that Rachel made cookies especially for her, and she tells Rachel how much she loves her. Rachel responds warmly, saying she loves her very much too. But then the scene flashes back to a memory from the past. Their father is shown telling them that Isabella had once gotten sick from eating nuts. He warns Isabella that she must never eat them again. Back in the present, Isabella thinks that if she refuses to eat the cookies now, everyone will doubt Rachel's skills. After all, people always say Rachel doesn't know how to do anything. So Isabella eats the cookie anyway and then collapses. Rachel panics as Isabella falls to the ground. The knights rush over, demanding to know what's wrong. One of them shouts to fetch the doctor immediately. The doctor arrives and insists they must give first aid right away. Their father steps in, asking what happened. Rachel is clearly shaken, her hands trembling as her father sternly asks if she really fed Isabella nuts. Her father tells her that Isabella has a nut allergy. Rachel truly didn't know this, but she begins to wonder if she really didn't know. Her father and Raymond shout at her, then turn away with looks of deep disappointment. She can see clearly now they have truly given up on her. Just then, Rachel is called. It is Daniel. He asks if she's all right. He also questions whether there's any connection between the items she asked him to bring and the sudden, unusual closing of the store. He thought it must be because of some suspicious individuals seen near the shop. She sighs, suspecting this is probably her brother's doing, and tells him she'll explain everything to him later. Though the number of suspicious figures has decreased, they will continue maintaining the guard presence. They cannot risk the warehouse being discovered. If the group is pulling back, they must be assuming she plans to close the shop. Rachel then asks Daniel if he won't eat a Madeline. He replies that he doesn't eat food that hasn't been verified. She tells him that's fine, and she'll be eating them all herself. Daniel coughs and says it's okay. He has seen her eat the rest, so he can try one too. He eats it, and to his surprise, it's really super delicious. Rachel laughs and teases if he's curious about the recipe. Seeing him smile like that, she says she'll only share it for compensation after all. She's planning to expand her business. Daniel chuckles and says he had heard she was really bad at business, but now it seems that information was false. He adds that they should know all about business by now. He points out that lately, he's been seeing bakery items everywhere. Rachel is informed that her products have become popular among noble ladies. He also heard that it was famous among the previous Duchess Hessen, and she gave it a lot of praise as well. He asks Rachel if she has any connection with the Duchess, but Rachel doesn't want to think about it that way. She thinks that if she could meet the Duchess, she would do anything to build a connection with the most enthusiastic bread lover and a potential VIP customer. She adds that things are still suspicious and they should continue to lay low. The Duke's side might still be watching them. They discuss the whole matter further, and Daniel expresses interest in supporting her franchise. Rachel laughs, saying she'd prefer better conditions first. She then asks him if he's off to the Merchant Guild again, looking as sleep-deprived as ever. He replies that he still needs to look over some matters there. Rachel looks at him and asks him to wait for a moment. She brings out some bread and sweets for him. She tells him that while work is important, he still needs to take time to eat properly and should make sure to eat all his meals. Daniel hears her and says that he will consider it as a token of gratitude for the things she ordered. He adds that the herbs she asked for will reach her before sunrise. As for the herbs, Rachel is working with them, hoping they will function as they did in the original novel. However, they smell absolutely awful to her. There is no way she can eat them in their current form. She thinks it is already time to make a new batch of bread. She decides to bake blueberry bread. The recipe is the same as regular bread. She sifts the bread flour, prepares the dough, kneads it well, puts it in the mold, and bakes it in the oven. Once it's done, the blueberry bread is complete. Now she must hurry to the mansion. If she gets there too late, Isabella might die. She enters the house, and Raymond immediately shouts at her, demanding how she dares to show up after what she's done. Rachel asks him to step aside. She has brought something for Isabella to eat. He says to her that she has gone completely insane and questions whether she's really trying to kill Isabella this time. Rachel insists that she needs to give this to Isabella to suppress the allergic reaction. But suddenly, he delivers a hard slap across her face. He demands to know why he should believe her now. Rachel tells him that he better do this just once, for the sake of Isabella, who is also his sister, and she would never hurt her. But Raymond makes it painfully clear that he has never once thought of Rachel as his sister. She looks at him, her hand starting to tremble as she clenches it tightly. Even then, Raymond keeps shouting, telling her to get lost, saying he never wants to see her again. But then, oh God, she gives him a good smack with her basket. Raymond stands stunned, trying to register what just happened. She yells at him that if he keeps standing in her way, he'll make Isabella suffer even more. Rachel shouts that Isabella is truly pitiful to be stuck with such a pathetic brother and sister. But Raymond shouts back that none of this would have happened if it weren't for her. Rachel screams even louder, mocking his logic. If that's true, then why was Isabella looking for her? Their father arrives then, demanding to know what this commotion is all about. He asks Rachel what exactly she's trying to feed Isabella now. Finally, Rachel steps into the room. The doctor immediately recognizes the mixture. Indeed, it is a rare herb, combined with another unexpected ingredient. He asks her where she was even able to obtain something like this. Rachel lies, claiming that a chatty pharmacist told her about it a while ago, and she gave him plenty of extra service in return. In reality, within the original story, Daniel had desperately created this exact medicine for the protagonist, Mia. Raymond then calls out to their father, declaring that Rachel is trying to give Isabella a strange medicine, one the doctor seems to know little about. He argues that they absolutely cannot allow this. Even the maids begin to murmur among themselves, clearly thinking that Rachel is lying. After all, they remember Rachel tried to kill Isabella once before. Rachel wants to cry out that it isn't true, but again, who here would actually believe her? Their father speaks gravely. He tells her that this is going to be her last chance. If the medicine she brought doesn't work, then she will no longer be considered his daughter, and today will be the last time she ever steps foot in this mansion. He adds that a family should have trust in one another. However, since she did put Isabella in serious danger before, there is no other choice. He asks her if she understands. Rachel says okay. Now, Isabella opens her eyes. Amidst the tangle of complex emotions and exhaustion, the long and tiring day finally comes to an end. The servants are whispering among each other. Did they really hear that Rachel healed Isabella? Isabella quietly walks toward Rachel. Rachel asks her if she's really that happy to be getting along again. Isabella admits that she is. Before saying anything more, she tells Rachel that, actually, it was Raymond who stopped her from eating any nuts, walnuts, or peanuts. She apologizes to Rachel, saying that she still went ahead and ate them. She really tried to hold back, but she just couldn't. Rachel tells her that it's all fine. But still, she wonders why Isabella ate them because she can't bear to see Isabella in pain. Isabella replies that she did it because she didn't want anyone to say bad things about Rachel anymore. Then, Matilda brings in the blueberry bread. It tastes really good. With one bite, Matilda admits that Rachel's bread is so good, so she doesn't understand why there are so many vicious rumors about it. But she stops mid-sentence and quietly takes her leave. Now that Isabella's condition has clearly improved, Rachel starts to think. She realizes that she needs to look into it, because it seems that it's not just bad rumors going around. Now the butler informs Karhan that for the evening's dessert, they have prepared yuzu pound cake and raspberry cake. Karhan politely declines, saying he will pass on the drink, but accepts the tea being served to him. However, he gives a small smile, admitting he is actually looking forward to the sweets. He's heard that anyone who visits the Duke's residence must try the desserts there. Karhan chuckles, saying that indeed, the previous Duchess had quite a refined taste when it came to sweets. Naturally, it should reflect the Duke's preferences as well. Finally, the desserts are brought out. The guest takes a bite of the raspberry jam cake and is immediately overwhelmed by how delicious it is, especially the rich, dripping jam. They then move on to a slice of the yuzu pound cake, Karhan's personal favorite. This particular one is nothing short of exceptional. The taste is so refined and balanced, it's almost too much to handle. Suddenly, Karhan places his teacup down on the table and announces that he just remembered an urgent matter he must attend to. He suggests they continue their conversation another time. Seeing how Karhan is practically fleeing the room, the guest simply smiles and assures him that of course, they will meet again on another day. Karhan takes a portion of the dessert with him to his study. There, he eats in silence, thoroughly enjoying each bite. And yet, despite how excellent the dessert is, something still feels lacking. His expression tightens. As he glances up, his eyes fall on a poster of Rachel's bakery. Thanks to his mother, he has a reason to be interested in that place. He had heard about it, but then suddenly, it shut down just a few days ago. Karhan can't help but wonder what exactly happened. Elsewhere, Madala is shown tied up, tears running down her face. Even as Rachel interrogates her, she insists through sobs that she truly knows nothing about the incident at the pond. She reminds Rachel that she has already said she is primarily aligned with Raymond. Even if she did know something, it would be difficult for her to speak up, especially now. She tries to reason that she only heard some circulating rumors about a bribe involving a brick, and nothing more. However, as Rachel places a few more gleaming jewels in front of her, Madala finally cracks. She starts to laugh through her tears, admitting that she's the one responsible for spreading the rumors. With the widest network of connections in the mansion, it was easy for her to make sure the gossip reached every corner. Still, she swears she truly doesn't know who originated the rumors, or who gained from them. Rachel listens calmly, then offers her another glittering jewel. Madala finally gives in completely, telling her that the one who gave a testimony about the pond incident was none other than Maid Joan. Rachel is surprised, but quietly pleased with Madala's honesty. She's always known Madala had a soft spot for money. Madala reveals that Joan claimed she saw everything on the day Isabella and Raymond were meant to take a walk together. Isabella had a sudden quarrel with Raymond and stormed off alone toward the lake. According to Joan's testimony, Rachel followed Isabella and pushed her into the pond. That was the official version Joan had offered, and it had already started to influence public opinion in the mansion. Despite this, Joan had taken refuge in a private room, reserved for witnesses, as if she had nothing to fear. The scene shifts to Rachel entering that very room, where Joan greets her with a practiced smile, asking what brings her here. Rachel states plainly that she is here to question her about the pond incident. Madala, who accompanies her, wastes no time in asking how much Joan was paid to lie. Joan, clearly offended, accuses them of speaking nonsense. But Rachel interrupts calmly, stating that the only one spouting nonsense here is Joan. She knows full well that the testimony was false. Joan smirks, unbothered, and asks how Rachel could possibly make such a claim. What grounds does she have to accuse her? When Joan saw everything with her own two eyes, she mocks Rachel, hinting that she's making a dangerous move by trying to slander a witness. Rachel remains composed, though her thoughts boil despite being adopted. She is still the lady of this household, and yet this maid dares to speak back to her like this? Madala intervenes, stating firmly that it is not slander. She reveals that on the day of the incident, Rachel was in the courtyard, far from the pond. Joan looks visibly shaken and demands to know whether Madala personally saw her in the courtyard. Madala admits she didn't see it with her own two eyes, but, she explains, the courtyard had been visited that day by a guest, a viscountess who had come to discuss business with Count Bale. That same guest happened to see Rachel there, speaking with the viscount in the courtyard at the time of the alleged incident. If it had been a simple household servant who claimed to have seen this, it might be dismissed. But if it was the guest of the count himself, then it becomes something far more official, something Joan cannot argue with. Rachel knows that if they request the count to verify the guest's testimony, the viscount will confirm it. This realization sends a visible shiver down Joan's spine. Rachel leans forward and tells her coldly that she will give her one final chance to avoid being thrown out of the mansion. Joan must now reveal the name of the person who bribed her to give false testimony. We see that the maids are whispering among themselves, voicing the rumors they've recently heard that Rachel is not the actual daughter of the Countess. They wonder whether the Countess revealed this secret just before her death, perhaps out of fear or guilt. Quiet speculation fills the corridors as the maids question whether they should even call Rachel Miss anymore. After all, if she is just a commoner like them, does she deserve that title? Some wonder aloud, what if Rachel had tried to harm Isabella? Could that have been what the Countess feared? Perhaps that fear was the reason she exposed Rachel's true origins. They also whisper that Duchess Sealda was particularly close to the Countess, and maybe she had asked the Duchess to protect Isabella from Rachel. Even Beth, another butler, finds this deeply troubling. She voices her concern that a mere commoner is now associated with the noble family, behaving as if she belongs, displaying what Beth considers outrageous behavior. The head butler questions her sharply, asking if she truly believes these are matters that need correction. He then asks where exactly she heard such baseless rumors. Rachel, standing nearby, scoffs. If they really believe there's nothing to correct, if they think everything is in order, then perhaps they should hear directly from Joan whether or not she was working under someone's orders. Her words carry weight and send a ripple of unease through the room. The butler is visibly shocked, but before he can speak, Joan confesses. She admits that all her testimony was a lie, and that she wants to correct what she said that day. Rachel, still calm, thanks her for finally telling the truth. She then asks Joan who it was that put her up to it. The butler immediately shouts Joan's name, trying to stop her, but Rachel cuts him off. She tells him to be quiet, pointing out that what truly irritates them isn't the issue of truth or justice, it's the fact that she's adopted. Rachel knows this too well. She, who has no prestigious bloodline, who comes from a nameless background, is considered a thorn by servants like him. She's aware of every whisper spoken behind her back. She's heard them maybe once, maybe twice, but always enough to remember. At that moment, four knocks are heard at the door. Rachel looks up. She notes that until now, she hadn't thought it worth addressing, but if lies have created this much misunderstanding, then she must speak clearly. Yes, it is true that she is an adopted daughter, but that does not mean she will allow falsehoods to take root and grow. Raymond finally enters. His face is tense, and Rachel is struck by the realization he is beginning to doubt her. Could it be that he truly thinks she bribed the maids? Before she can say anything more, Isabella arrives. She immediately speaks in Rachel's defense, explaining that Rachel had only helped her when she slipped. There was no culprit, no crime. It was simply an accident. Isabella insists she is speaking alone, and honestly no one is covering up anything. She pleads with Raymond to believe her. Perhaps in the beginning, she herself didn't like Rachel very much. Maybe it was due to everything people around her had been saying. She had allowed those words to influence her opinion of Rachel. But now she knows better. Rachel was never the villain they painted her to be. Rachel looks at Isabella, touched, and offers her a grateful smile. Meanwhile, the Count is in his chambers, reviewing the matter. The other butler informs him that there is still no final confirmation, but they have received a letter from the guest. The guest affirms that he did see Joan in the courtyard that day, just as Rachel claimed. The Count is deeply disturbed by the realization Rachel had been framed, and in her own house, no less. The butler comments that if this matter becomes public, it will be disastrous for the family's reputation. However, if they hand out appropriate punishment and contain the scandal quickly, everything may yet return to order. Now, we flash back to the day Rachel had first met with Isabella. At the time, a doctor had been present, carrying away the food Rachel had brought. The Count, disguised and observing, takes the food from the doctor and listens to Rachel's quiet conversation with Isabella. He samples the cake himself, and finds it surprisingly delicious. Back in the present, the Count turns to the other butler. He says that they will launch another investigation. Even though Isabella insists it was just an accident, the Count believes it is still possible there was a hidden hand involved. He declares that he will speak with the butler personally, and as for the matter of Rachel's reputation this time, they must ensure that the truth is made public outside the family. The next day, she is already working closely right after opening, determined to do her best. Though the store isn't yet bustling, that doesn't mean she can slack off. It only means she must be more prepared for her future VIP guest, and that is none other than Karhan. She plans to make some muffins today and decorate them like cupcakes using Karhan's favorite ingredient, strawberries. Just then, there's a knock at the door. She calls out that they are closed, but as she peeks out, she sees that it's Karhan. Immediately, she changes her tone and says that they are not closed yet, quickly letting him in. Karhan, the Duke of Hessen, is one of the Empire's greatest knights, the very man who fought countless monsters and northern enemies to protect the Emperor. But later, he finds himself in a dilemma. Somewhere else, someone is being told that Karhan cannot accept a particular offering. They are confused because they had been informed that he only accepts gifts in the form of food. The butler explains that they are truly grateful, but Karhan had only shown a little interest in desserts in the past and only accepted them because food is food. The butler says that he really wants to do his best for his master, while poor Karhan is internally crying out because he truly does want the dessert. Maybe that is why he hasn't had a single sugar boost lately. The moment he finds out, he rushes straight to the place to eat some sweets. Fortunately, it's still open. She is surprised to see him, but they hadn't done much closing yet, so it's fine. Since the tables aren't set up, she tells him he'll have to eat at the counter. He nods. She goes to prepare the dish, and his eyes widen the moment she brings out the strawberry muffin. It's a perfect golden brown muffin with a layer of strawberry cream and bright red strawberries arranged beautifully on top. He is sure that this combination can't go wrong, and if the bread turns out soft and chewy, it will be perfect. He takes a bite and it's truly heaven. She calls out to ask if he's still alive, and after a brief cough, he declares that he's going to take some of these muffins with him. She tells him that they are always ready for bulk orders and that in such cases, they offer special perks. He is amazed that she's already receiving bulk orders and giving perks. She also adds that they provide membership cards, which come with a free gift, a very special dessert with a unique, self-selected taste. Karhan immediately says he is going to place a bulk order right away. And not just any order, he chooses the most expensive one. Back at the manor, Karhan is already eating the desserts. Rachel has prepared 20 boxes, each containing 5 macarons. He asks what macarons are, and she explains that they are similar to Dakoi's round cookies with a soft filling. To him, the name alone already sounds delicious, and now that he has heard the description, he cannot wait to eat them. He wonders what kind of angel she truly is. All the maids are now staring at the macarons. One of them asks if these really came from Rachel's bakery. But no matter how pretty they look, especially considering Rachel's beautiful reputation, they hesitate. What if they're poisoned? It's not unreasonable to question it. They can't believe the Duke himself chose them. Still, they each take one and decide to give them a taste test, bracing themselves to be the most honest critics possible. And the moment they take a bite, oh my god, their eyes light up, astonished. They can't believe how good it is. The sweetness is just right. Not overwhelming, a perfect balance of crispness and chewy softness. On top of that, the presentation is flawless. To them, this dessert is truly amazing. We see that the Duchess is sitting at the head, and someone goes to her, saying that it seems like she is disturbed. The Duchess wonders if that is the case. The head maid points out that it is indeed rare for her to sigh. The Duchess then asks Owen, the head maid, if the macarons are really from the bakery owner Rachel. But according to the widespread rumors that Seuss has heard, Rachel is the spoiled, disgraceful child of the Count. And if that is true, Owen tells her that it actually is right, since she herself had grown curious about it and looked into it. It turns out that the lady who has been running the bakery is the same Rachel known for her notorious behavior, not only among commoners but also among the nobility. She tells Owen that she can now rest her concerns. With that, Owen takes her leave. The Duchess sighs. As the former Duchess and the owner of the orphanage, it feels strange that she's now showering so much praise on the work of someone so infamous for her bad deeds. But again, the Rachel she met couldn't possibly be the same girl who would do something as terrible as the rumors claim. She's sure of it. She takes a bite of the macaron, it's soya flour flavored. She remembers Rachel telling her that she's planning to make soya flour macarons as well, since it's a flavor that people of all ages can enjoy. The Duchess thinks that perhaps she truly does need to look into this matter more deeply. We see Madela, all excited, shout out to Rachel to leave things to her, saying she's going to work as hard as she's being paid for it. Rachel has already finished baking all the bread. Now she just needs to check and finalize the packaging. She then takes her leave, wishing Madela a good day. Rachel seems rather happy today, and it's all thanks to Karhan because his bulk order has made her pocket feel especially secure. Daniel soon arrives and greets Rachel. He says that since Robert is busy today, he'll be guiding her. She finds it amusing that today Hyde is acting as Daniel and playing two sides must be truly exhausting for him. He adds that, by the way, the carriage she arrived in is very stuffy, and if her family has a ritual against using extra carriages, she should tell him. But she tells him that she only came here for work, and for his information, that's what a normal carriage looks like. Rachel asks Erin if it would be alright for her to share what she does for a living. Erin tells her that she works at the Hessen ducal house and also assists in the kitchen, alongside taking care of her younger siblings. Rachel, intrigued, asks if by any chance she might be interested in working at the bakery, explaining that she has been searching for a talented worker like her. She mentions that the monthly income will be 6 million kroso, plus bonus, overtime, and additional allowances. This revelation shocks Erin so much that she can hardly respond. Rachel gently laughs and tells her that, first of all, she will pay her for working today and then asks her to seriously consider the offer. With that, Rachel takes her leave, leaving Erin all alone, stunned and deep in thought, thinking to herself how incredibly cool Rachel is. Meanwhile, Rachel is huffing as she walks briskly through the neighborhood. She has lost count of how many blocks she has already run through in search of her VIP customer. She thinks to herself that maybe he went back to the mansion, as there is no way he would be returning to the shop right now. Just then, her ribbon falls off. She turns around to see that Karhan has picked it up, casually pointing out that she dropped it. She thanks him and, without thinking, cheerfully remarks that she will make sure to give him a lot of service next time. But then, this dumb girl only later realizes that she wasn't supposed to act like that as if she knows him. Technically, she is not supposed to know the identity of the robe-wearing customer. She tries to change the topic, but Karhan tells her that he already had a hunch and it turns out that both of them know each other's identity. This shocks her. He really knows that she is Rachel? But the issue is, she barely attends any gatherings, so he must have overheard something while Madela and Erin were talking. Then again, she wasn't exactly trying hard to hide her identity in the first place. Still, she asks him how he knows her, since they've never officially met. But yes, she is indeed the owner. She decides it's time to use her full shocked card after all. She can't let this VIP customer slip away again. It's a matter of money, guys. She asks him if he enjoyed the macarons. She had taken extra care with the packaging just for him. He gets all happy but also grumpy, saying the strawberry was decent. She blinks, confused. Which strawberry macaron? If she recalls correctly, 80% of them were strawberry macarons. That's when he starts getting suspicious. She already knew he liked strawberry, didn't she? Now she's acting like Joe from You. He tells her that his eyes never left the strawberry section. Karhan admits that, yes, the sweets were really good. As expected, he's not very good with words, but he can distinguish flavors with great precision. Even in the noble circle, he was often overshadowed by the kind-hearted Daniel and the charismatic crown prince. Still, while the other two relied on wealth and power to win, Karhan was the only one who competed with sincerity, and he genuinely loves desserts. So yes, he's their pretty guy now. Later, Madela asks Rachel if she's really going to make her own dress for the spring ball. Rachel has no idea what she's talking about. Madela points out that since she's been working on something lately, she thought it was for the banquet. But Rachel clears it up, it's just practice. She'll most likely buy her dress from Sabiel again, like last time. Madela then asks if she's not going to Elegance Boutique, since their dresses have been quite famous recently. But Rachel doubts she can go there again, after what happened. She recalls that when it was the real Rachel, she had asked Madela to get rid of a dress, shocking the designer. The reason? Last time, she had told them she liked the dress, but now she doesn't. So the designer had to enlighten her, saying it seemed like it lacked the refinement suited for commoners. She stares at him. Even he is like, what the hell did I just say? She straight up tries to pull his hair, while Madela just thinks that they really need to get rid of this dress now. Still, she's more interested in the jewels that are attached to the ears. The designer, walking out, thinks to himself that he spoke without thinking. He feels like he needs to apologize before things get out of hand. But then he sees Madala holding his designed dress. He gets all angry and demands to know who told her to do that. Madala informs him that Rachel told her to throw it away. The designer starts shouting and storms out of the manor. Back in the present, Madala tells all of this to Rachel, who realizes doesn't that mean it was Rachel who started this all. But what's done is done. After all, Jack, that designer, was supposed to catch the Empress's eye at the spring banquet. After that, he kept gaining the female lead's favor with that typical female lead buff. He built a huge boutique and then got his revenge on Rachel. She had been hoping to cut him off early. Still, she thinks if she catches the Empress's eye, won't that be great publicity? Madala suggests that maybe she could use the nature of the boutique to her advantage, since this spring banquet is being held in honor of the Emperor's 500th anniversary. And unlike the previous spring banquets that were only hosted by the young nobles, this time, many middle-aged and senior nobles will also be attending. She even heard that Rachel's father is going to attend it. Rachel is like, girl, where do you even hear these things from? But Madala insists this is common knowledge, and she hears it here and there. Rachel thinks that Madala is so used to gathering information that she doesn't even realize its value. She even gives her a round of applause for giving her this good news and thinks to herself that she really needs to keep her around. Now we see that the Duchess, disguised as Catherine, is strolling along when she sees Rachel picking out weeds. They both greet each other. Catherine asks if Rachel is really doing all this weeding by herself and why she didn't ask for help. But Rachel explains that she thought she'd get some exercise while doing it. After all, hiring people can be quite expensive for her. Catherine is genuinely moved by this. Then she asks Rachel what's this week's new bread. If there's something new, she definitely wants to try it. Rachel heads off to fetch some and comes back, offering it to Catherine, telling her to give this new bread a try. Catherine wonders aloud if this is the new macaron. Rachel points out that she's still trying to improve the recipe. Catherine picks one up and takes a bite. Rachel thinks to herself that the soybean powder makes it tricky to eat, yet Catherine eats it so neatly. After tasting it, Catherine is genuinely taken aback by how good it is. It's truly amazing, not too sweet so it can be enjoyed easily. She then asks Rachel if something is going on, since she seems to be putting in so much effort. Rachel admits that this time, she's planning a special event for her Injialmi macaron. Catherine reminds her that the macaron is already popular among all age groups. Rachel agrees, but adds that because of the powder, people might find it a little tricky to eat. Besides, individual recognition for it is not that high. So, her goal is to refine the recipe enough to receive supply orders for major events someday. Catherine smiles, saying they'll definitely be cheering her on. Rachel begins to review the process. First, make the meringue. Then sift the powder and mix it in the correct amount. Next, place it in a piping bag. Pipe it out little by little, and bake it, being careful not to set the temperature too high. Once that's done, the coke is ready. Then, add boiled syrup to another meringue to make the cream. Sandwich it between the coke, and finally roll it in the soybean powder. Roll it, and roll it again. With that, countless Injialmi macarons are finally complete. She didn't expect them to sell so easily, especially since she worked so hard to prepare them all by hand. Now we see that Gray comes by, asking Rachel if she's doing all right. He tells her that he'll go wash the trays in the backyard, but she tells him it's okay after all. He's already busy with escort duties. She then hands him an Injialmi macaron. He eats it, and suddenly, light shines upon him. He is clearly one of those people who love bread. Just then, another guard rushes in, looking worried, asking if Rachel is okay. She appears to be a little more pale than usual. Rachel explains that she's perfectly fine, it's just flour on her face. The guard tells her he doesn't know much about bread, but he overheard some suspicious people, and they were looking for something called Injialmi. Rachel starts shouting at him that it's the name of a dessert. You idiot! Madala arrives, announcing that a letter from the Imperial Palace has arrived. Rachel is sure that this must be the invitation to the spring banquet, but she wonders why it was sent to the bakery instead of her home. Madala adds that it wasn't addressed to Rachel, but to the bakery owner. Rachel is shocked but opens the letter. It states that regarding the upcoming spring banquet, they would like to further discuss details about her Injialmi macaron. She can't believe it. Could this really be a supply proposal from the Imperial Palace? She then turns to the guard, saying they're just her customers, so there's no need for him to go chasing them around. Instead, She tells him to try the injialmi macaron himself. He insists that he's fine, but she calls him by name Hound and asks if he's allergic to anything. He says no. So, she immediately stuffs the macaron into his mouth and asks if it tastes good. He admits that it's so good it deserves payment and that he'll definitely protect this place and its owner, Ron whatever, with his life. Then he heads off to clean the stairs. Rachel thinks that wasn't really necessary, but if he's insisting, she'll let him work anyway. The Hound grows angry, outraged by the sheer audacity of the sudden order. He is visibly shocked, but Madela sharply tells him to shut up, explaining that Rachel has just hit the jackpot. They all assume the shop is likely going to be closed for a few days. Rachel had prepared everything with the upcoming spring banquet in mind, but she never expected results to arrive this quickly. She wonders how all of this even happened, considering she has no connection to the Imperial Palace. Madela points out that it truly seems like Rachel is incredibly lucky. Rachel silently agrees and immediately begins planning to write a reply. Soon after, Rachel is seen apologizing to the Chamberlain for the delay in her response. The Chamberlain reassures her that it is perfectly all right, since they had arranged the meeting according to her convenience. The Chamberlain understands that Rachel must be curious as to why the Imperial family, of all clients, has chosen to order sweets from her bakery. After all, the upcoming spring banquet is expected to welcome guests from all age groups, and there is no dessert more fitting than her signature injialmi macarons. If the results prove favorable, the palace is even considering establishing a long-term contract with her. Rachel asks the Chamberlain to reveal the criteria for success. The Chamberlain tells her that not a single macaron should be left uneaten. Though Rachel knows this will not be easy, she cuts her off with a firm tone, saying that she has already signed the contract and is entrusting them to do a good job presenting her work. The Chamberlain is taken aback that Rachel signed the deal without even negotiating the conditions. But for Rachel, making sure that every plate is cleared isn't a challenge, it's an opportunity. In fact, she sees it as the perfect way to promote her product. She is honored to craft a dessert that suits such refined tastes. The Chamberlain notices that Rachel responds with such dignity and professionalism, defending the value of her macarons without diminishing their worth. AOA truly lives up to her reputation as an excellent businesswoman. With that settled, they move on to the next important topic. The scene shifts to Rachel arriving at Sabiel Boutique. George welcomes her warmly. He hadn't expected her to come in person, especially since she has been extremely busy with her own bakery. She smiles and explains that it's been a while since they last met, so she thought of dropping by to say hello. George wonders if she's aiming for something extravagant again this time, but she surprises him by stating that she's actually thinking of going with a modest outfit, something fresh, something that feels like spring. George is confused by her sudden call for modesty. He glances at the designs laid out in his boutique. As the head of Sabiel Boutique, George is a major player in the fashion industry. While he isn't exactly humble, he is extremely skilled. At his core, he prefers safer and more elegant styles. Whenever a new trend arises, he tends to adopt it in moderation. So, when the female lead previously partnered with the elegance-focused boutique, George had been pushed aside. But still, Rachel won't lose when it comes to looking stunning. She tells him she has a proposal. George wonders if she's about to do what she used to in the past. But Rachel makes it clear that he should forget all that this time. She wants him to look at a gift she brought with her. When he opens it, he finds a cookie. She proudly explains that it is an iced cookie and begins to teach him how it's made. First, the ingredients must be mixed well to form the dough, then cut into the desired shape and baked. After that, it can be decorated with icing to complete the look. George is amazed and asks if she really designed it herself. She tells him yes. Despite it being a cookie, she put in a lot of effort. George admits that this is a design he never would have imagined himself. Rachel agrees, but adds that something still feels lacking. She confesses that she would like to collaborate with him using this design and the concept of the iced cookie. She wants to taste something born from her idea, but completed by him. George agrees that if they incorporate some of his style into it, the final product will look amazing. He then asks her about the terms of the contract. Rachel is pleased he's thinking positively and tells him the first term. She will offer him 5 million kroso as an upfront payment. Secondly, she'll use her family's social influence and contacts to make sure the entire family wears clothes from his boutique. George is stunned. Even Raymond? Everyone knows she and Raymond don't get along. But she reassures him that it doesn't matter, everyone will absolutely be wearing dresses from his boutique. She already has a way to make that happen. Now, the scene shifts once more. Samuel is seen walking in, clearly flustered to see her. He says he heard she summoned him. Rachel responds sweetly, saying she has something to discuss with their sweet aide. She intends to make use of every opportunity she can get. Samuel thinks to himself that there have been rumors claiming she's matured, but from the way she barged in today, it's clearly nonsense. He remarks though with some bite that she should have at least sent a letter before showing up. Yet she only responds sweetly, agreeing that he must have been busy managing her family's affairs, but the matter was urgent, so she had no choice but to come in person. He's taken aback by how politely she's apologizing, and asks what exactly brought her here. She explains that there's been a lot of talk surrounding investments lately. After all, there are quite a few unpredictable variables in the current market. For example, the Dino mine that everyone thought would be a gold mine turned out to be completely barren. The investors must have suffered heavy losses. Samuel stiffens at that. Why would she bring up something like that? Could it be that she knows he invested in that mine too? But then again, he reassures himself there's no way she could have found that out. She mentions that she's trying to start her own business and wants his opinion on the Hectare mine. He realizes she's referring to the mine that recently changed ownership. She informs him that she sold it wholesale to the esteemed Robert, the president of the central bank. The diamonds there have been confirmed through official reports. If Samuel invests now, she tells him, he might be able to recover the losses he suffered from the Dino mine. After all, he'll need those returns to cover the funds he embezzled. She brings up how the budget allocation for her department doesn't match the actual amount she received, and as the direct descendant of her family, she knows how to read an accounting ledger. Samuel freezes when he realizes that she knows everything. But instead of punishing him, she's asking him to make an offer. This is what she's plotting. She mocks him, saying she's glad he's quick on the uptake. She explains that he'll have to make her father and brother wear outfits from Sabiel Boutique. Samuel considers the request it's not even a difficult one. After all, Sabiel is already one of the top boutiques in the capital. It doesn't feel like she's pressuring him. If anything, it feels like she's doing him a favor. She adds that she has a personal connection with George now, so they're all acquaintances. AOA is, in fact, telling him that as long as he keeps her family out of his shady dealings, she'll overlook his embezzlement. To him, she is far more terrifying than he originally thought. Later that evening, at the banquet, Rachel and Raymond are announced as they make their entrance together. Her father is with them too. The timing of their entrance draws murmurs from the crowd, especially when people start to recognize that both of their outfits are from Sabiel Boutique, and they both look absolutely stunning. As they begin to dance, Raymond leans in and asks if this is really in light. Rachel replies confidently that of course it is. Why would she ever gamble with Isabella's life? Raymond points out that she's already receiving all the royalties from the allergy medicine formula, yet she's handing it over to the trading company. The buyer isn't even hers, so this deal benefits her in many subtle ways. She tells him that she knows he's trying to leave a strong impression, so he'd better handle the behind-the-scenes politics just as smoothly. All the people start to gather around Raymond, praising him for his new and very polished look. She manages to get away from him naturally, thinking this freedom itself is in Light's gift to her for making a statement. The current fashion trend is large frails around the sleeves, and she's sure that soon even they all will be thinking of updating their designs. Now is the right time to begin a more detailed market survey. She hears someone talking about Robert. She pauses, thinking it seems like Robert gained something significant this time instead of Daniel. When she looks over, she's surprised to see that Robert is actually heading toward her. But then, to her shock, she sees Karhan as well. He's here too? She's amazed. Karhan is the type to almost never show up at these sorts of banquets. It's strange those two appearing together at the banquet, just as she's making her grand entrance. She decides she needs to slip away before more important variables come into play. Just then, Robert, who is actually Daniel in disguise, arrives before her and asks if he can have her second dance. She jokes, asking why not. Her father is calling her over, asking her to bring him here, but she deflects, saying she has to tend to her business first. She tells Daniel that she's sure he's trying to do something to Homer. Isn't he? He admits that it's more than that, he just didn't want to miss his second dance with her. She's confused, but he adds that they're business partners after all. She retorts that her partner is Daniel, not Robert, so why did he come tonight under a different name? He explains that having the support from both personas will allow her business to expand more powerfully. She thanks him for that, admitting she thought something far more serious must have happened. He grins and says that even so, he still has something to say to her. The reason he came today is because the king paid a significant amount to the bank deposit every what, and he has not made any appearance to him. So he decides to go there. But there, he sees Rachel. He notices that no one is approaching her, and the second dance people are gossiping about her. He thinks that she must be troubled hearing all these nasty talks, but to his surprise, she is standing there more pleased to see her sweets macarons. He is confused, but she doesn't seem like someone who likes trouble at all. He knows that it is indeed like her. Even his ulterior thoughts are confused about what exactly is going on. He leaves, and unlike the others around him, she was the only person who, at any point, truly cared about him. He has no plans to dance with anyone else, even if it means doing something reckless because he doesn't want her to be laughed at by others. But the problem is that he can't confess his feelings, so he remains unable to explain his actions at all. They keep on dancing, and things begin to grow stranger. Now she says to him that, as expected, he finds it strange too the fact that Karhan attended the banquet today. He agrees somewhat awkwardly, like yes. She thinks that maybe he must be here to report something to the crown prince. After all, he is really close to him. But she notices that he keeps looking at her. He gets all gloomy and leaves from that place. She ends the dance with Daniel to go see him. But before that, the king and the queen's entrance is announced. Even the crown prince is here now. She bows, wondering why of all times he has to be here now. He is the original male lead, the man Rachel once had feelings for and the one who annihilated her family. She remains determined to avoid him at all cost. But now she has lost sight of Karhan too, and if he reports anything to the crown prince, the bakery will be in trouble. She is outside and sees the lights, thinking that having something like this at her bakery would cost a fortune. She wanted to keep her connection with the VIP customer. She's thinking it would be good if he weren't here to witness the crown prince. She starts shivering from the cold due to her coat being missing. She searches everywhere but still is unable to find him. And oh my god, he makes an entrance by putting the coat on her. He asks her what she is doing out here, so close to the edge, as she seems sensitive to the wind. He wonders why she is wearing clothes like this. It seems to him that she doesn't even know fear. She can understand that the weather is cold, and she should have dressed warmly. Even in the imperial palace, there are lonely spots that can be dangerous at night. She can see that he is worried about her, and she finally begins to understand his eyes. There is something deeper in them. She thanks him and is glad she got to meet him here, as she needs to discuss something with him. He hushes her gently, saying he knows that it is about that letter he was about to talk about the store flower. But he adds that he would like her to keep it a secret from everyone. She is confused. What? She wasn't talking about flour. She brushes it off, saying she was not saying anything, and what secret is he even talking about? He replies that it is the secret of him getting discovered. She gets it now, he isn't talking about flour, but rather his secret that he likes to eat bread and desserts. After the last duke died in Bael, Karhan, at the young age of 14, gathered vassals around him. With those vassals always eyeing his position, he had to protect his people and his mother, becoming the Duke of Hessen. At such a young age, he chose to march to the battlefield and he survived. And now, he is the Duke who is respected and reserved, at least on the outside. The obsession with being perfect, the crushing weight of having to be flawless, only the female lead, Mia, was able to understand him. So for her, there is no need to steal that role. But still, she tells him that he can relax. As her beloved VIP cutie, she will keep her promise. Because in business, there is nothing more important than a promise, and she truly cannot leave him just like that. She takes out the pen from her pocket. She says that she has heard it somewhere that if someone likes something, they should write it down 3 times and they will feel at ease. She writes Merrill Flowers. He says to her that he doesn't like Merrill Flowers. She tells him that it's supposed to be a secret. From now on, this will be their secret code for sweets and breads, and she will understand it right away. He smiles, saying that he would like to see how Merrill Flowers look. She tells him that he can come and see them anytime. While saying that, she wonders why she's getting excited. He asks her if she's feeling unwell, as she's gotten all red. but she brushes it off again, saying she tends to get red easily. She then takes her leave. He says alright, as he will come find her when he wants to see Meryl Flowers. Karhan is leaving when he flinches at the sight of the Crown Prince. He greets him politely, thinking to himself that he always comes here alone when attending banquets. So how did the Crown Prince come to know that he was here? But the Crown Prince says to him that he heard he was here, yet he wasn't seen inside, so he came looking for him. He then asks Karhan if he escorted the lady well, but adds that he couldn't quite see which lady it was after all. It was too dark. But then he says that surely he can forget it, and if he is done with his business, he can leave now. The Crown Prince thinks that whatever Karhan is doing has nothing to do with him, but it feels unpleasant to have him walking just a few feet away. And to add to that, Rachel also danced with Daniel, and now she has shared a secret with Karhan. He had thought she was a dull and predictable woman, but now, to him, it feels like she is hiding something far more interesting. He is all excited to see what amusement she is going to bring to him this time. Back at home, Rachel's father gives her the list of all the dismissed maids and newly hired ones. He also hands her the names of all the servants who insulted her, and says that the former butler will also be dealt with after interrogation. He tells her that he heard she wasn't feeling well and left the banquet early. He apologizes to her for being so neglectful lately. She wonders, why is he acting like this? She smiles, thinking that he doesn't have to be sorry like this. It's okay. Instead of apologizing, he could just hold her. Her father gets the picture of her asking for a hug when she was a child. He thinks that this is right after all. She was a bright little kid, and why did he forget all those times he hugged her? Saying that he is truly worried about her. The next day he comes again and asks her why she is already leaving so early in the morning. He gives her a warm drink, saying it's good for her health. He acts all cute, asking why she's skipping breakfast and what kind of work she's even doing with her fragile body. She tells him that she is planning to open a second branch. That makes him drop the glass. He doesn't like hearing that he worries for her. Just how many bodies does she think she has? She laughs, saying that expanding a business is actually fun. But he is worried that at this rate, her body will wear out completely.